Good evening and welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Tamiru Nimsa. Let's have a look at the headlines. Cabinet approves the restructuring of salaries in the public sector. Egypt and Sri Lanka enters into diplomatic training agreement. News in detail. The Cabinet of Ministers in Sri Lanka has approved a comprehensive set of measures to overhaul the salary structure in the public sector, with the changes set to take effect from January 2025. This announcement was made by Cabinet co-spokesperson and Minister Bandula Gunawardena at the post-cabinet meeting media briefing on Tuesday. The overall salary adjustment will cost approximately 200 billion rupees annually. The minimum monthly salary will increase by 24% to 35%, bringing the gross salary to 55,000 rupees. All government employees will receive a monthly cost of living allowance of 25,000 rupees, which will be revised every 3 years. Pensioners will receive 50% of this allowance. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that all designations in the public service will be categorized into 4 levels, with recruitment based on the Sri Lanka Qualifications Framework and National Vocational Qualification. Minister Gunawardena also said that a new medical insurance scheme will be introduced for government employees and pensioners with a minimum monthly contribution of 1,000 rupees. The minister also revealed that public employees will be provided with performance indicators and salary increments will be based on progress. The minister further assured that salary increments for government officers who retired before 2020 will be adjusted and their pensions will be revised accordingly. Foreign Minister Ali Sabri signed a memorandum of understanding between the Bandaranaike International Diplomatic Training Institute and the Institute for Diplomatic Studies of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Egypt. Minister Ali Sabri signed this agreement with the Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati during his visit to Egypt earlier this week. In addition to diplomatic engagements, Minister Sabri met with Egypt's Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade, Hassan El Khatib, and the President of the General Authority of Free Zones and Investment. The discussions centered on enhancing trade and investment cooperation between the two countries, identifying sectors of mutual interest, and the importance of exchanging trade delegations. The Egyptian side expressed their appreciation for Sri Lankan private sector investments in Egypt and assured their full support to further boost these investments and address any challenges faced by Sri Lankan investors. Minister Ali Sabri also had a significant meeting with Grand Mufti of Egypt, Dr. Shauki Ibrahim Alam, where they exchanged views on religious cooperation, cultural ties, and combating extremism. Furthermore, Minister Sabri participated in an event organized by the Cairo Chamber of Commerce in coordination with the Federation of Egyptian Chambers of Commerce. The visit also included a meeting with Ambassador Mohammed Al Arabi, Chairman of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs, where Minister Sabri engaged in discussions on regional developments and possible cooperation with the ECFA. The Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka has officially issued a telecommunications service provider license to Starlink Lanka under Section 17B of the Sri Lanka Telecommunications Act. The Presidential Media Division said that this marks a significant advancement in the country's telecommunications sector, enabling enhanced access to high-speed internet in a statement recently. The issuance of the license follows a recent meeting between President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Elon Musk in Indonesia, where they discussed the acceleration of the application process to connect Sri Lanka to Starlink's satellite network. The President's Media Division said that this move is expected to greatly enhance internet connectivity across the nation, leveraging the advanced satellite technology. It said that Starlink Lanka is now authorized to provide satellite broadband services throughout Sri Lanka, paving the way for expanded access to high-speed internet and marking a new era in the country's digital connectivity. Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. Director General of the State-Owned Enterprise Restructuring Unit, Suresh Shah, said that the government has bigger issues like national security, foreign relations, and economic development rather than running commercial businesses. He further stressed that when governments have to operate commercial businesses, it conflicts with their fundamental duty of consumer rights protection. Suresh Shah said this speaking at an event hosted by the Advocate Institute in Colombo, recently.
Why do we want government to look at something so insignificant as running a commercial business when it's got all these much bigger issues to deal with? Think about it. National security, compare it with running a commercial business, it's insignificant. Think about foreign relations and running a commercial business, it's insignificant. Think about economic development and running a commercial business, it's insignificant. Why do you want to put a responsibility to government of such insignificance when government has to deal with far more greater issues? Let government focus on those big issues and let these commercial enterprises be run by somebody else. So this is the first fundamental reason why privatization needs to take place. The second reason is that government has to look after the interests of citizens. And how does it do that? It does it through legislation, it does it through regulation, and a couple of other things as well. But when the regulator, when the person who forms the regulations, who forms the legislation, is also running a commercial business, how do you know that the regulation is for your benefit or for the benefit of that company? How do you know this?
Speaking further at the event, the head of the SOE restructuring unit stressed that it is the government's duty to intervene and make sure that the citizens' essential needs are provided if and when a case of market failure occurs.
It is the responsibility of government to ensure that citizens have access to essential goods and services. The term essential is very important. It's essential goods and services. Now, in the event the private sector, for whatever reason, is incapable or not willing to supply those essential products and services to the citizens of the country under a competitive environment, there are two other considerations. One is if there is a development need, and again the private sector for whatever reason is not willing to take part, then the government may have a responsibility. And of course, thirdly, a national security issue. In the event government does get involved, then it needs to manage these enterprises in a way that it doesn't become a burden on the fiscal. So that's the other side that we have looked at. You know, when we speak about state-owned enterprise restructuring, when I mean we, I mean the country, everyone thinks about privatization. But there is another very important, possibly even a more important side of the reforms that we have looked at, and that is to see how these enterprises that remain under government control can be managed without being a burden on the fiscal. So we've created a state-owned enterprise policy which has been approved by the cabinet. We are putting the policy into a law. A draft of a law has been done, which clearly lays out how you take political interference out of board appointments, for example.
One of the known annual events in the construction industry in Sri Lanka, the World Construction Symposium by the Ceylon Institute of Builders, was held last weekend in Colombo for the 12th consecutive year. The Ceylon Institute of Builders is assisted by the Building Economics and Management Research Unit of the Department of Building Economics in the University of Moratuwa. The theme of the annual symposium by the CIOB this year was Empowering Construction Industry towards Sustainable Development Goals. More than 100 research papers have been submitted from top-ranked universities from all over the world, and the CIOB and the University of Moratuwa are of the view that these research papers will be entertained and used for the practical use to the benefit of the industry in future. CIOB President Dr. Rohan Karunaratne said that a roadmap for the industry's coming years will be handed over to the President and other relevant officials soon.
Infrastructure development is first to go. Suddenly, the most of these projects and the payments have been stopped. It was a shock to all the contractors and the consultants at that time because they were handling large volume of work. Though they have stopped the projects, bank will not stop coming behind you, and you go to pay your salaries, overheads, vehicle leasing and everything.
This year we gather physically after a long pause to engage in a meaningful discussions and explore new opportunities for collaboration and growth. The last few years have been challenging for all of us, The COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with economic uncertainties, tested our industry's resilience and adaptability.
That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.